After you watch this lesson, click on the link that's right below this video, and that will take you over to practicetheguitar.com, and there you can practice this arpeggio exercise at 15 different tempos, with backing tracks at 15 tempos, a lesson video, tablature, and notation, all designed to help you to improve your playing. Go check it out. For this arpeggio exercise, what I'm trying to accomplish is giving you some alternate ways of playing arpeggios that aren't just the normal type sweep patterns. Those are great, we love those, I use them all the time, but the idea here is to outline chords in your soloing without having to sweep pick or sound like you're trying to shred through an arpeggio. This is more about targeting the chord tones and knowing the shapes and knowing the notes in those shapes so you can actually successfully do that across the neck. And what's happening with this exercise is I'm covering the middle set of 3 strings, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string, and then also the top set of 3 strings, which is the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string. And what we're doing here is we're working with 4 arpeggio types from each string grouping. So it would be major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, minor 7 flat 5. And what I'm doing is working this in the key of C. So I'm starting down here on F, and I'm doing F major 7, G 7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, C major 7, D minor 7, and E minor 7 on the middle set of 4 strings. And then when I get to the top set of 4 strings, I'm doing B minor 7 flat 5 down here, and then going to C major 7, and then D minor 7. And this is a different set of patterns just because with the tuning of the guitar, the shapes slightly vary on the top set of 4 strings. But the reason why I want to focus on that set, these 2 sets of 3 strings, is because that's where you're going to solo most of the time. And the awesome thing about this soloing concept is that you're focusing on the chord tones. This gives you that whole idea of, we all talk about targeting chord tones, but if you don't know where all the notes are, how are you going to target those chord tones? This exercise gives you some useful and simple shapes to help you to actually do that. And just as an example, if I was playing over a C chord or a C major 7 chord, in this case I could use a C major 7 arpeggio. And the 4 notes that make a C major 7 are C, E, G, and B. And you can get the B here on the 7th fret, or here on the 9th fret on the 4th string. And with these shapes, all of these arpeggio shapes begin on the 7th, whether it's the major 7 or the minor 7th. From each chord, it's going to give you that shape where you're starting on the 7th degree of the chord, going up to the 5th, and going back down. So it's just really useful for outlining any chord that you're on. So again, here's C major 7. Now of course you could use the C major scale right over that, or the C major pentatonic scale. But you can see with the arpeggio, we're focusing in right on those specific chord tones. This will work for any chord that you're playing over. Say, for example, this is D minor 7. So, of course, for a D minor 7, you can play varying things. You can play a D Dorian scale if you were in the key of C. You could play a D minor pentatonic scale. But then you could also play the arpeggio, which will target those specific chord tones in that chord. So that's the whole idea here, is to get you to see where those notes fall, be able to comfortably play those notes with shapes that you can actually actually get under your hands. With the picking hand, I'm using pretty much just alternate picking here with some hammer-ons and pull-offs. So you can see so this would be a really useful exercise also to work on your alternate picking going between strings. That's the hardest part with us soloing or playing anything on the guitar, is when we have to switch strings. So this exercise is really helpful for that concept. And the other thing we're using a lot of is finger rolls. So in other words, when we have two notes that are on adjacent frets on two different strings. So for example, that'd be an E minor 7 arpeggio right there. So that's a useful little technique to get better at doing finger rolls across these little arpeggios, which is something you'll use all the time when you're soloing. If you think you'll get a lot out of working with this lesson and practicing at the 15 different tempos and working on your technique, click the link that's right below here, and that will take you over to the site, and you can go and check that out and practice along with all these exercises. And there's also backing tracks at the 15 tempos as well. So if you want to practice with bass and drums and rhythm guitar without the actual exercise recorded on the track, you can do that as well. So head on over to the website and go check that out, and I hope to see you next time.